This is linking data in worksheets assignment 1. In your folder, it's Asg1 travel expenses. And a lot of the work in this is creating the various sheets and putting in the data. And to speed up the process, I have that done for you. So part 1 says create Joe Murphy's worksheet. 1. Create a new spreadsheet workbook and enter the data shown in table 3.1 in sheet 1. I have that done for you. They give you a tip. Dates can be copied using the fill handle. Enter 04/10/14 and drag the fill handle downward to enter the remaining dates. This only works when the dates are in sequence. So although I have it done already, let's just delete the dates, the 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. If I click on 04/10/2014 and I grab the little fill handle in the corner and drag that down, I get the 5th, the 6th, the 7th and the 8th. So it's just a quick way of doing a series of dates. Question 2. Rename sheet 1 as Joe Murphy. So right click on the sheet tab, rename, type in Joe Murphy. And press enter to have that accepted. 3. In B4, enter the linking formula equals C3 to read the kilometres PM of the previous day. Copy this linking formula to B5, B6 and B7. So in that cell you're saying equals C3 because you want the computer to read the last figure for kilometres on the previous day. And if we copy that formula down, you will see that each day the starting figure is the previous day's closing figure. So if I look there and if I click into B4, I trace precedence, you'll see that it's reading from C3. If I click into B5 and click precedence, you can see it's reading from C4 and so on. So each morning, the number of kilometres is being read from the number of kilometres at the end of the previous day. Question 4, calculate the distance travelled and the total due. So the distance travelled first. Into D3, I will type a formula that says equal C3 minus P3. So the last record of kilometres at the end of the day minus the first record of kilometres before you started. And we'll copy that down the way. The second part of question 4 then asked for the total due. So that would be the distance travelled by the rate per kilometre. Distance travelled multiplied by rate per kilometre, and we copy that down the way. Question 5, use the sum function to calculate the total distance travelled and the overall total due. So equal sum D3 down to D7 and equal sum F3 to F7. Click the Cell Styles button in the Home section of the ribbon. So we go back to the Home section, and this is our Cell Styles area. And apply the formatting listed in Table 3.2. So A1 to C1, A1 to C1. He wants it in 60% accent 1. So we drop down that menu. That's the accent 1 column. And that's the 60% part. A2 to F2. A2 to F2 is to be done in accent 1. So we drop down the menu, we see accent 1. A3 to F7 is to be done in 20% accent 1. And D9 and F9 are also 20% accent 1. Part 2. Create Sheila O'Shea's worksheet. You'll find that I've done quite a lot of this for you. Question 1. Rename sheet 2 as Sheila O'Shea. So right click on sheet 2, rename Sheila O'Shea and press enter to have that accepted. Question 2 says enter the data. I've that done. Question 3, apply styles as in Joe Murphy's worksheet. So we're following the same instructions that we had for Joe Murphy. A1 to C1 is 60% accent 1. A2 to F2 is accent 1. C9 is accent 1. A3 to F7 is 20% accent 1. E9 and F9 are 20% accent 1. Question 4 says calculate kilometres AM, distance travelled and total due for Sheila O'Shea. So it's actually the same as what we've done before. In B4 of Sheila O'Shea's sheet, we type equal C3. And that reads the figure from the end of the previous day. And we copy that down for the 4 dates. The distance travelled is equal to C3 minus B3. And we copy that down. And the total due is equal to E3 multiplied by E3. And we copy that down. The total is the sum of D3 to D7. And the total for total due is equal to the sum of F3 to F7. Part 3 says create Tom Doyle's worksheet. Again, I have a lot of this done for you. Rename an empty worksheet Tom Doyle. So I have it actually filled for you, but we're renaming the third sheet Tom Doyle. Enter the data shown. I've done that already. Apply styles as in Joe Murphy's worksheet. So again, A1 to C1, 60% accent 1. A2 to F2, accent 1. C9, accent 1. A3 to F7, 20% accent 1. Also D9 is to be in 20% accent 1, and F9 is to be in 20% accent 1. Question 4 says calculate kilometres AM, distance travelled and total due for Tom Doyle. So similar to what we did with the previous ones. We're in B4, we type equal C3. We copy that down for the remaining dates. The distance travelled is equal to C3 minus B3. We copy that down for all of the dates. And the total due is equal to the distance travelled by the rate per kilometre. And we copy that down. And again, we get sum and sum. Part 4, create the summary worksheet, and yet again I have this done mostly for you. So the only thing we have to do is rename this as travel summary. Enter the data shown. I've already done that. Enter linking formulas in the shaded cells to read the employee name, distance travelled and total due for each of the 3 employee worksheets. So in A4, I want a cell that will read Joe Murphy's name. So I will go equal, I go to Joe Murphy's sheet, and I click on Joe Murphy's name, which is in C1 of Joe Murphy's sheet. And when I press return, Joe Murphy's name goes into A4. But if I click on that, you can see that in the formula bar it reads equal, quotation mark, Joe Murphy, close quotation mark, exclamation mark, C1. And we have to do the same in A5. Type equal, go to Sheila O'Shea's sheet and click on C1 and press enter. And the next one in A6, equal, go to Tom Doyle's sheet and click on his name, which is in C1. That's the employee names done. Distance travelled. So we're basically getting the total distances. So equal, Joe Murphy's sheet, Joe Murphy's distance travelled. Type equal, go to Sheila O'Shea's sheet and click on her distance travelled. In B6, type equal, go to Tom Doyle's sheet and highlight his distance travelled. And the same with total due. We want to have our answer in C4, so we click into C4, we type equal, we go to Joe Murphy's sheet and we get his total due. And we go to Sheila O'Shea's sheet and we click on her total due. And we go to Tom Doyle's sheet and we click on his total due. Question 4. Click the Cell Styles button in the Home section of the ribbon and apply the formatting listed in Table 3.6. So A1 is to be 60% accent 1. A3 to C3 is to be accent 1. And A4 to C6 is to be 20% accent 1. Question 5. Highlight A1 to C1. Merge the Summary of Travel Expenses heading across cells A1 to C1. So that's the Home tab, merge and center. Format money amounts to currency in all worksheets. So in Joe Murphy's worksheet, totals due would be money, and the total of the totals due would be money. Likewise in Sheila O'Shea's and Tom Doyle's. And in the travel summary, the total due column should all look like money. Just column widths where necessary. So that's if you find that you have a place where something isn't fitting. Let's, for example, adjust column B there. Format, autofit column width. Question 8, delete all unused worksheets. We don't have any. Question 9, print the summary worksheet. So we are printing to PDFs. So File, Print. As our printer, we're choosing Microsoft Print to PDF. And when we hit the print button, it saves it as a PDF. So Print. And we need to give it a name. make sure we're saving it into our Chapter 3 data, and the name we're going to give it is travel expenses. And save. Question 10. Change Joe Murphy's kilometres PM to 25,900 for the 8th of the 10th, 2014. So we need to be in Joe Murphy's sheet. And we're looking for the 8th of the 10th, kilometres PM. And we're changing that to 25,900. 25,900. And when we do, we verify that the distance travelled on the 8th of the 10th is now 199. The total due for the 8th of the 10th is now 169.15. Joe's overall distance travelled is now 791 in both the Joe Murphy and in the summary worksheet. And Joe's overall total due is 672.35 in both the Joe Murphy and the summary worksheets. And then we save.